anything, yeah, if anything looks like you're going to use it to read notes off of or something.
Over there. Did you start it?
Is it recorded?
Yep.
Oh. Okay, so my name is Sunita,
My name's Kent. I'm Chris.
and we're gonna talk about Hy-Vee and expanding it to Sugar Land, Texas. So overview, this is kind of the main stuff we're gonna be talking about. Just purpose, economy, culture, competition, etc. Okay, so the purpose again is to expand Hy-Vee to Sugar Land, Texas. We're going to be looking at the economy, culture, and competition. We also picked out a few goals that we wanted to focus on, which include successfully implementing a fresh produce franchise in a high-income city, providing products at a cheap price but at a profitable rate, selling its products to a different market and expanding its market shares, which will also be beneficial for increasing revenue and growing as a business altogether.
Alright, so for the economy aspect, Sugar Land is a suburb of Houston, which is a good thing because Houston currently right now is the 4th largest city in the United States, but experts are predicting that within 10 years it will be the 3rd largest city in the United States. So what that means is more people coming into Houston, and the more people coming into Houston, more people are going to the suburbs, which means more people are going to go to Sugar Land. And the more population means the stronger economic growth that they'll have. And then also, not just for population-wise for Sugar Land that's beneficial, but they also have the highest workforce growth in 2015, and they were ranked 5th in job growth, which can show Hy-Vee that they'll have plenty of opportunities to get the right people for the job. So for the GDP between Ankeny and Sugar Land, you can see that the population is definitely higher. But the biggest thing I would probably want to mention is the median household income. It's almost like 40% higher, and that means that we're just going to market to like a different group of people than we are in most of the time in like Midwest and Iowa. And then also their number of employees is really high too, and that goes back to the previous point on they have a lot of opportunity for growth for jobs. So for standard of living, their cost of living is 14% higher than the national average in the whole United States, and that it's also for Ankeny, it's 6% lower, so that's like a huge difference, and that also applies to the fact that we're marketing towards a different set of people. 80% of the population makes $60,000 or more, with 40% making $150,000 plus, and $150,000 plus is considered as a the wealthy class of the United States, so that's a good point to mention. And 85% of the people make their money off their salaries, so that means it's constant percentages for their amounts of money, and they don't have to worry about like in California where it's like startup money where it can fluctuate a lot of times. This one's just going to stay consistent, and they don't have to worry about changing their market plans every year because it's always going to stay the same. So then for the demographics, 40% of the people are Caucasian and then 40% are Asian, which is different than Iowa because 92% of them are Caucasian. So because there's so many Asians, we think that we should market towards the Asian specifically and have an Asian market section in the store and also offer more Asian products. And the average age is 40 years old with an even split between male and female, and that is 7 years older than Ankeny's age, and the older the people means the higher numbers of family members you're going to have, and that means you're going to spend more when you go to the groceries, which thus will increase your revenue for Hy-Vee. And then since we're also marketing towards an upper class type of people, we thought that we should include a delivery service. So people can just order their items online and then it can be delivered straight to the door. And we thought that this would be like a good idea because wealthier people, they might be frugal and they might not want to like spend a lot of money, but they also don't have a lot of time on their hands. So if you can do something to save their time, then they would choose Hy-Vee over some other company.
With this potential move to Sugarland, it is very important to consider and evaluate all potential risks. And in order to do this, we have performed a SWOT analysis based on our research that we've done. We found that as far as the strengths go, customer service is Hy-Vee's greatest strength. And we also another strength is that we have the ability to analyze our competitors and strategize before we move to the new location. And that seems like a big advantage. You can go on to the next slide. Some of the weaknesses are expensive prices in Iowa compared to other grocery chains. That's a current weakness that Hy-Vee has in comparison to the other to their competitors. Whereas in the new location, we believe that our prices should be significantly lower. So we're not sure whether to say, that's a weakness for our new location. Another one is that Hy-Vee doesn't have a lot of experience nationwide. They're pretty limited to the Midwest, and so they have a low market share in the grocery industry. But we think, we can fix that by making this move. Some opportunities, like I said, analyzing our competitors, strategizing before we get into the new location, find out what their weaknesses are and exploit them. I think a huge advantage to this new location would be to increase our technology budget. Because with an increased technology budget, we would have the ability to more precisely target consumers with advanced data analytics, as well as creating just a smoother shopping experience, maybe having some sort of kiosk, just automating all of the processes that you can, as well as a delivery system with an easy to use interface on the line, for deliveries. Some of our threats on the next slide. So H-E-B is our single biggest threat, we believe, because they're well established in the area and they have a good customer base. And they have a well-established customer base. And another big threat, in my opinion, is evolving technology. I think that's something Hy-Vee has got to get ahead of, is their technology. They're behind. There's times that I've been going through their checkout and the process has been slow because of their faulty machines, and I just feel like that's a simple enough thing that they can improve. But I think they should go above and beyond as far as the money they're putting into that, because there are new competitors in the market, such as Amazon, that are coming in and making things super easy and super smooth. And that's not a competitor we want to have to contend with our lack of technology. And in order to properly assess all aspects of our SWOT analysis, we came up with this, basically this risk evaluation that we use to evaluate each individual risk, and then depending on the risk level, apply a monetary value that we can use to budget towards those risks in order to minimize them and just plan ahead. And
Okay.
Sunita's going to conclude.
Just to look back at everything, the strategies to achieve successful expansion include adapting some of its food products to fit our cultures. Like we said, we have a lot of a large Asian population there. Also, we are going to successfully measure the success after every quarter, just to basically sum up how the store is doing, the positives and negatives of the store, and then determine the popularity and profitability of the store. And then also Hy-Vee will focus on its competitors by providing food at a cheaper price, like we mentioned before. That's going to be one of our main things that we want to do. just to basically help out customers, for cheaper prices that way. And also we're going to be making a profit off of it, which will benefit the store. So altogether, our research here is to support the expansion of a new Hy-Vee in Sugar Land. The economy, culture, and competition has helped us come to the conclusion that Sugar Land is the ideal location for Hy-Vee. And then recommendations. We are confident that we can complete the above tasks as listed to achieve our end goals of a new Hy-Vee in Sugar Land, Texas. We welcome any suggestions that could further enhance our proposal. We hope to gain your approval so that we can gain a new business venture. Any questions? Yes.
So I know you guys talked a lot about your competitor, and you kind of talked about it being more affordable prices being your biggest competitive advantage. Is that consistent with what you guys are saying, I guess? I don't know. Is there anything that kind of separates you apart from a EV or whatever it was?
HEB.
HEB.
Well, our idea was we were going to undercut HEB's prices. So
Okay.
that would be our advantage.
Okay.
But moving to Texas altogether, their prices for every store you go to is going to be higher. So essentially, we're still going to be raising our prices, but it's still going to be lower compared to HEB. So customers are going to find that appealing, and that's why they're going to choose us versus HEB.
Are you gonna stick with most of your Midwest like supply chains then, or are you gonna use? How are you guys gonna go about that?
I mean, some of the stuff we can probably use from like Ames, like corn and stuff, but then there's like the fresh produce. Obviously, we're gonna go with like Texas because we're not gonna transport it all the way out from Iowa. So I think it depends on what products we use.
It's really going to be what's most cost effective and what suppliers we're able to find.
Customers are going to like that more compared to taking it from Iowa versus actual Texas. Yes.
For the delivery services that you want to propose for the new location, is there going to be a limit with how far those delivery services will go? And if so, how will you accommodate with traffic, as it is in a more busy place than it is in Ames or Ankeny? How are you going to accommodate to either make it quicker or,
I think that I think a lot of that, as far as when they're ordering, I don't really see how traffic would be a big deal, just because when you order groceries, it's not like you need them right this second. But it does cost employee time. You're right, and we would probably want to, have a way of finding the most efficient routes to our points. And yes, we would absolutely have a limit on our distance we can travel, unless we implemented a system that charged by the mile after a certain point, after a certain distance. We already do in Iowa cater, and I'm pretty sure you can get catering.
But also to that point, like
This-
Houston area, it's like a lot of traffic, but Sugar Land, there's not as much traffic as you think because like they're still growing as a city. So like traffic probably wouldn't be their biggest concern. The biggest concern would be like the limit on how far they can go. And we would have to decide that down the line.
We also chose Sugar Land because it's really similar to Ankeny, and they have delivery services there. So they're really succeeding in that, and that's kind of one of the main reasons why we chose Sugar Land, because it's really similar to Ankeny, and we thought it would work out really well there. Yeah.
So you guys' model is like lower the prices, beat everyone in prices, but you want to introduce all the technology. So are you worried about
Well, I
is it
think
gonna be like a slow
I
improvisation?
think Hy-Vee really, I just think that's something they seriously need to address, just because, I'm not sure how that would play into the costs of, other foods, because obviously you're going to have to increase costs if you're spending all this money on technology. But I think that the value and improved technology, I think, is huge, and I think a lot of grocery markets haven't realized that yet, and I think Whole Foods is going to be one of the first most advanced grocery stores, and we just don't want, it may be 5 or 10 years, but I think it's something we need to start working on right now. and maybe we can experiment with this new location in that way, because we're also catering to to people that are probably willing to pay a little more for more convenience.
And also going off of that point, like the cost might be like extra, but it could basically be a model for all the other Hy-Vees.
Yeah.
So it's like if they basically get that technology down, then they can incorporate into the others, and that would make it cheaper overall.
Anything else? Thank you.
You good?
Yeah.
I was waiting for you to ask the question.
I was trying to think of one. I was trying.
We're just too smart for you.
Well, I was gonna think of one that I didn't want to like screw you guys over in the end because I was gonna talk
Ken, is
about
the
how
stop
We had
button?
plenty of time though.
I was going to mention
Just the
another thing
stop
about
button?
the one
Yeah, just
about
stop.
how like